Welcome back, everybody. So I got a good question. I got asked what my opinions are on boycotting. Right. I know that there is definitely within the preparedness movement, there are a lot of people that are wanting to, for example, boycott Carhartt, boycott Black Rifle Coffee, boycott Amazon, Walmart, Costco. Pretty much any time a company does something that they see as being out of pocket, it's like, well, we have to boycott them. And so this is just something that our community is dealing with currently at the moment, along with all the other crazy conspiracies and things that go along with just being in preparedness. I shouldn't say that. It doesn't have to be that way, but unfortunately, it seems that's the status norm because you do have a lot of new people to preparedness, and so the way to capitalize off those fears is to stoke the flame. And a lot of ways to do that is to create the boogeyman for people. So let's talk about it. Let's jump on in and let's talk about let's talk about this from a very truth and honest perspective. Okay, this is something that I've thought a lot about, and I've thought a lot about this a long time ago. So my views on this really started strong over a decade ago. Over a decade ago, I was full-time RVing, and I was off grid a lot of the time. And I can tell you that for those of you that have lived off grid, you very soon and very quickly realize that any fallacy, illogical argument that you may have is completely irrelevant, right? You have to deal with reality as it is. There's no way around it, because no matter what you want to think, no matter what you say, no matter what other people's experiences are, you are dealing with reality as it is at that time. And so you have to be dead honest with yourself, because if you're not dead honest with yourself, you're fooling yourself. When you fool yourself, you get hurt. That's the bottom line. And so when you are in an off-grid scenario or off-grid situation, or you living an off-grid lifestyle, there's just certain things that you just have to come to terms with. And it may go against the counter narrative in which you were brought up, your upbringing. And that's just, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And that's why I can say I can definitely tell when I'm talking to somebody, or even here on YouTube, for example, I can talk with somebody, and I can usually tell those people that live off grid or have lived off grid have that mentality. We just all have this different mentality, and those of us that share these similar experiences know exactly what I'm talking about. But we have this thought process and this methodology in our head, because we are forced to look at the world through a little different lens than our peers. And what this has to do and relate with when it comes to boycotts are, really looking at this from an honest perspective, right? So let's take Carhartt, for example. That's kind of been the big one in the community lately. So when we look at Carhartt, people are upset with Carhartt because of their, vaccination policy in regards to their workers. Okay, it is what it is. Now, a lot of people are saying they're going to boycott Carhartt because they feel that ethically and morally they can't support that company, right? And again, everybody is free to do what they want to do. Let me just point that out. But if you're asking me what my honest opinion is, I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, I can't make that ethical and moral statement. I can't. I literally can't, because I buy gasoline from OPEC countries. So there's no way I can justify saying that I'm going to boycott Carhartt, but still buy gasoline and not be a hypocrite. And I know, here's the thing, I know a lot of people are going to say, well, we need gasoline, it's a requirement, it's necessary for life, but Carhartt isn't. Okay, so why don't we just be honest with ourselves and say, Carhartt, if you're going to boycott Carhartt, I want to punish Carhartt because it is an acceptable loss, it's an acceptable sacrifice in my life that is not going to hurt me all that bad. Just be honest with what we're doing. But I can't say it's a morality ethical thing. I can't. I, unapologetic prepper, cannot say in good faith that I'm going to boycott a company in regards to vaccine mandate requirements, and in the same breath say, oh, but I buy gasoline, I buy propane, I buy diesel. I can't do that. I can't morally and ethically hold those two arguments up. I can't. Now, I can be honest, and if I were to be honest, that's what I would have to say, something along those lines. I want to hurt Carhartt because I can make that sacrifice. But don't make it a morality thing. I can at least make it a morality thing. And who knows, maybe there's a bunch of preppers out there that don't use electricity, that don't use petroleum products at all. I'm sure you guys exist out there. So again, when we're talking about this from a realistic perspective, I don't have a choice. And as much as that hurts, and as much as that would hurt you to say, right? As much as that hurts me to say, at least I'm being honest, right? Because I can't make and jump through these logical fallacies, because in real life is what it is. I can't change the reality that I find myself, especially not to appease the masses, right? It 100%. That is where we're at. That is where I'm at. I can't make this a morality ethical thing. But what I can say is, hey, Carhartt rubbed me the wrong way, so therefore I'm going to do everything I can to hurt their bottom line. But again, I can't say that I'm doing this out of a moral or ethical imperative, because again, I can't say that it is in the same breath, buy gasoline, right? And that's just one example. So for me, that's kind of where it's at. Now, do I believe that boycotts can be effective? I absolutely think they can. They can be, but at the end of the day, I really have to ask myself what my ROI is on this. I really do, because again, I can't lie to myself and I can't lie to others and say, well, this is a moral, ethical imperative. I can't. I'm not going to. I'm not going to lie for you or lie to you. I'm just not going to do it. So there's that in that regards. And then we start looking at things like, let's look at the Black Rifle Coffee Company. That was the thing before the car. I would say that was probably the last big thing before Carhartt. The Black Rifle Coffee Company, it came out that they endorsed Tulsi Gabbard, they endorsed Hillary Clinton, and they also endorsed some other Republican candidates. A lot of people are upset about that. And then Kyle Rittenhouse in Kenosha, they definitely backed away from that controversy. So people were upset that a coffee company was being a coffee company. They're trying to maximize profit through advertisement and veteran sentiments in order to sell coffee, right? They have pretty girls with tattoos with guns. They have bearded guys with guns. They have bearded macho guys that have served in combat that are missing limbs and stuff like that. They're out there fucking getting it, They have a really good advertisement model. And again, they're very much about veteran programs, but a lot of people saw that as, well, these people are God-fearing patriots that care about the Second Amendment, and then whenever something controversial happens, they expect these companies to kind of be their saviors here. And so, especially when they pulled away from the Kyle Rittenhouse thing, when they pulled away from that controversy, a lot of people said, well, we're going to boycott Black Rifle Coffee because they don't truly stand for our values and this and that. And so people did that, right? And again, we're seeing preppers saying the same thing about Amazon and Costco and Walmart and all those other things. And at the end of the day, I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth. If you want to boycott those companies, by all means, I don't want to change your mind at all. That's not what the purpose of this video is. But for me, what I'm saying is, the unapologetic prepper, I can't sit here on my high horse and state that I'm going to do something out of a moral or ethical imperative when, again, I do buy gasoline. I do. And so every dollar that I spend on gasoline goes to OPEC. And OPEC, just look at the laundry list of different things that they've been a part of, right? So I can't say, well, hey, here we go. Here's another thing. I mean, I don't have to, thank God, but I have bought Tyson products in the past. Take Tyson. Tyson, the company, they have a vaccine mandate as well. It's probably not something that is as readily heard as the Carhartt thing, but they also have a vaccine mandate, and majority of Americans that eat meat, they buy Tyson products. So it's one of those things where I bet you there's a lot of preppers out there, especially all the Prepper Now, Prepper Nation, Alaska Prepper, Magic Prepper, all the preppers that recommend buying the cans of chicken. I bet you that's a Tyson product, right? And so it's one of those things where it's like, if we go down this rabbit trail, there's probably going to be very few things that you are going to be able to purchase if you're trying to not be a hypocrite, right? But again, you can, and people will, they always will, you can justify your behavior through a ton of different metrics, right? There's a ton of different metrics in which you can justify your behavior, and people do that. But for me, what my purpose with this video is, if I'm going to boycott something or if I'm going to do something, I at least have to be honest with myself, because as much as it may suck in the short term, long term it's going to have the greatest of impact. It's going to actually matter, because short term, if they're not happy about something and you can openly express why you're not happy and you can take full ownership of why you're doing what you're doing, you can at least pace yourself and you can at least set goals and a precedence to wean yourself off that evil that you despise, right? You can do that. But what we see happen a lot of times are, you see these preppers that will, and I see it all the time, right? They get on this bandwagon, and I've seen this not with just preppers, but non-preppers alike. They get on this bandwagon. Oh, I'm not going to do this. Or I'm going to get off social media. That's a big one. I'm going to do all this stuff. And then guess what? Well, I use social media for my family. I do it for my family, right? They use these examples and they use these excuses to just go back to the fucking crack, right? To go back to these companies they say that were evil a month ago, social media that was evil a month ago, and guess what? They're back on the fucking dope, you know? So it's one of those things where, if we're being honest with ourselves, I think the best way forward is to state and be honest. So let's say there's a company that I don't like. All right, I don't like this company. I don't like what they have done. While I don't like what they have done, I'm not boycotting it from a moral imperative. I'm boycotting it because, again, I don't like the decisions that they've made, and this is a necessary sacrifice that I'm willing to make. It's a sacrifice that I'm willing to make, and I do want to hurt their bottom line. So this is what I'm going to do, right? If you can be honest with yourself, there, great. I think that's important. I think that honesty is important. But when we convolute the truth with, illogical fallacies, that's where we get where we are in the world, right? Where people are literally thinking, people are literally thinking that their speech is being suppressed because they're not getting paid what they want for their content, right? So again, we have to look at this from absolute truth. And if we don't look at it from absolute truth, we're gonna find ourselves in a big mess. So again, for me, that's where I stand on boycotts. I'm not saying that I wouldn't be open to the idea, but ultimately, if I'm going to do it, I have to be 100% honest. I have to be 100% honest with what I'm boycotting and why. I can't state it's from an ethical superiority or a moral implication unless I can justify that. Now, I can easily justify and articulate not liking the company. I can easily justify not liking a company stance and me being able to make the sacrifice of not having to use that company. But at this point, I can't take a moral imperative high ground, right? Not while I'm buying gasoline, right? And for a lot of people out there, they're unwilling to do that, which is fine. But for me, that's kind of my stance on it. Again, I don't mind doing something, but I need to be honest with what I'm doing. I need to be honest with the why. So there you have it. Hope this was helpful for you guys. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. If you think I got this completely wrong, let me know. Let's have an honest conversation about this. Let's have some honest dialogue, because you know what? At the end of the day, every month there's a new thing that the preparedness community is wanting to boycott. They're whether it's a bank people use, whether it's a product, whether it's a service, a streaming service, no matter what it is, there's always something that the preparedness community wants to boycott. So again, tell me what your thought processes are on it. Did I get this wrong? Did I get this right? Should we be 100% honest with our rationale and reasoning? I think so, but you tell me. As always, guys, long live the Republic.